Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabbihi ajmain. Saya perkenalkan diri saya dulu. Saya Syafiq Azman, merupakan pegawai media untuk Islamic Relief, dan insya-Allah hari ini live kita pada malam ini di Facebook, di media sosial Islamic Relief Malaysia. Kita ada update live dari bumi Gaza bersama dengan Islamic Relief Palestine. Kita ada live dari bumi Gaza, bumi bertuah, bumi yang penuh dengan cabaran, bumi yang penuh dengan dugaan. Seperti mana yang kita tahu, sejak 1997 Islamic Relief telah bertapak di Palestin, telah bekerja di Palestin. Ini dah termasuk 26 tahun Islamic Relief berada di Palestin dan juga berada di Gaza, dan menyantuni rakyat Palestin yang berdepan dengan penjajahan, berdepan dengan sekatan, berdepan dengan konflik yang berterusan sejak sekian lama seperti yang mana yang kita tahu. Jadi sebelum kita start, kita juga meminta jasa baik tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang menonton live kami di media sosial Islamic Relief Malaysia untuk share kepada di social media masing-masing, dan juga share juga kepada mungkin kawan-kawan yang lain untuk kita sama-sama. Kita dapat live daripada Gaza ini, kita bawakan live daripada Gaza ini. Dan kita minta jasa baik tuan-tuan puan-puan untuk share dan terus share untuk kita sama-sama lihat apa perkembangan yang terbaru dari Gaza. Dan seperti mana yang kita tahu, Gaza telah ataupun Palestin telah menghadapi ataupun berhadapan dengan penjajahan yang berdekad lamanya, sekatan yang berdekad lamanya, menyebabkan krisis kemanusiaan yang sudah bergenerasi. Tahun lepas saja kalau kita dengar pada tahun 2002, yang kita tahu seramai 150 orang telah terbunuh disebabkan telah dibunuh oleh penjajah ini, dan ini kita baru Mei 2023 kita telah pun mendapat perkabaran bahawa 123 orang telah terbunuh dalam konflik ini. Lampau banyak yang berlaku, lampau banyak yang kita harapkan. Dan sekali lagi kita minta jasa baik tuan-tuan dan puan-puan untuk share. Kita live dari bumi Gaza. Untuk itu kita perkenalkan, kalau boleh kita perkenalkan tetamu kita pada malam ini, iaitu Brother Muneeb Abu-Ghazaleh. Assalamualaikum brother, how are you?
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Salam brother. We before we start, brother, we would like to, from Islamic Relief Malaysia, we would like to thank you for joining us tonight in Malaysia. We are in night time, and in Gaza, I think it's afternoon. I think it's 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., something like that, brother.
Yes? 4 years.
So we are very honored. We are honored to have you with us to give us an update about the situation now in Gaza and the work that Islamic Relief Palestine are doing right now for the situation. And before we start, brother, before we start with an update, how are you? How are your family? How is Islamic Relief staff in Gaza? Are they doing well? Are doing okay? Are they safe?
Alhamdulillah. First of all, I would like to thank you for hosting me, and I would like to thank you and the Malaysian community for their support and interest in Palestine in general, and in Islamic Relief in specific. We are, alhamdulillah, all fine as a team until now. Inshallah, we'll continue as is. The office is not functioning, as you probably know. We're working from home. The movement is not safe. So
But the work that we are done and we are doing right now is still ongoing, brother. Yes.
Yes. We have, alhamdulillah, a network of partners all over the Gaza Strip that we're working with. They are within the communities, which makes it easier for us to reach them. We are also working with hospitals. Yani hospitals are still reachable. Yani we can go to hospitals and try to support as much as possible. We hope also that we will be able to continue. We have supplied medications, urgent essential items that we found available in stock in suppliers in Gaza, actually, because now there is a major lack. It's already only 3 days, but I mean the lack is is very apparent, and mainly in medical field. We have also supplied food parcels to families mainly in the southern of the Gaza Strip. We try to focus as much as possible on locally produced items like vegetables and chicken and eggs and so things like that, which basically can support families for around a week.
Okey, bagi penonton kami di Malaysia, bersama kami sekarang adalah Brother Muneeb Abu-Ghazaleh yang merupakan pengarah Islamic Relief Palestine. Sekarang ini beliau berada di Gaza dan beliau alhamdulillah dalam keadaan selamat, dan juga staff dan juga family berada dalam keadaan selamat, alhamdulillah. Dan kita doakan untuk mereka terus selamat supaya mereka dapat terus membantu dan melakukan projek yang berterusan dan juga bantuan yang berterusan kepada rakyat Gaza. Brother, I remember last 2 years, I think in 2021, that Islamic Relief Malaysia, we had the opportunity to go live with you, brother. And around, I think this time, I think 13 May of 2021, and now it's 12 May. It's exactly 2 years ago that during the live session, we heard the bombing, and we heard the airstrike, the attack that very near to your house, and it's really disturbing even for us that are far away. And we can see from the live session that you moved to other part of your house. We hope this time this is not the case. This is not the case, brother.
Well,
hopefully.
In Gaza, there is nothing called far away. If you want to compare distances, there is nothing called close and far. The Gaza is like in general, in total is like, it's called 5 governorates, but the total length is around 40 kilometers, and the width is 6 kilometers. So
Only.
the whole thing is reachable by bicycle, kind of. There's nothing called far. In many cases, we hear a lot, very high noises, and we think that they are really next to us, to find out that they are a bit farther, but farther means still close.
Yeah, but we still hope that you are safe, your family are safe, and our staff in Islamic Relief Palestine in Gaza are safe. And last year, brother, I mentioned to our audience here that 150 Palestinians has been killed by the occupation, and but now we are still in May. The reports that I have read, it's reached already 123, and it's going up. The number of people have been killed that reported. Can you share the latest update on? Yes, brother.
You are talking about since the beginning of the year, not in this escalation. In the escalation specifically, in the 4 days, now we have reached 31 deaths and a number of people.
Yeah, speaking about the 2023, since 2023, yes. Because I compare it to 2021, 150, and 2023, we not even have reached half of the year. We're still in May. We are already 123. And can you share latest update on the ongoing conflicts or tension in Gaza, but then, and what is the current situation right now?
It's really very vague. No one can honestly understand what's happening, but it started with targeting specific militants of jihad. But unfortunately, it was in the after midnight, so they were at their homes. So basically, their families have been affected, and the neighboring families as well. So one of the locations, a prominent dentist in Gaza, together with his wife and older son, have been killed. and a neighbor child of 5 years old have died from panic only, not it was not targeted. So it's a sudden fatal shooting, if I might say, what happens, and nobody can tell when and where it will be. So it's basically very risky to move, and very risky at home as well. So yeah.
We always pray for you. We always pray for the safety for you and for your family, for the staff, and for all Palestinian in
Thank you.
Gaza and in Palestine. Brother, you mentioned about the kids that died because of the panic attack. It's really read about this just today, and it's really touched my heart. And that is how dire the situation, how they affected, that are traumatized by the situation in Gaza. We are aware that now we know that Palestinians face decades of occupation, decades of blockade, and recurring conflicts that create the humanitarian crisis. It's for generations, brother. And Gaza is the world's largest open air prison. It's well known all over the world that Gaza is the world's largest open air prison. What are the current challenges and concern faced by the people in Gaza?
Honestly, I mean, I would say that such escalations are not the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is when Gaza is totally forgotten and still suffering. Uh, I've lived, all of my life in Gaza, and I have lived, all of my life, meaning under occupation, basically. I would say that Gazans are, very active, talented community that can depend on themselves if they are given a chance, if they are given a chance. But we are forced to be a humanitarian situation. It's basically, like you said, it's the biggest open air prison. It's totally fenced from all sides and closed with gates. People rarely can move out, and import is very under very high control, basically, of what can come in and when, and export is almost very difficult, and not consistent. So basically, business economy is totally deteriorated, and this everything else follows out of this. High employment is probably one of the highest in the world in Gaza, mainly amongst youth, and the high employment means that excessive tension at homes because of lack of income for people that are capable and productive, which leads also to psychosocial or psychological deterioration of the situation of the family members in general, mainly the younger ones, and so on. It keeps, rolling, the ball. Kind of the social situation leads to the psychological situation. Sorry, leads to further social problems, leads to physical illnesses, and the ball keeps rolling.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it is expected, since the border is totally closed, that electricity will go down, I think, in a day or two, because there is no fuel coming in. Uh, and of course, many of the items in the market for whoever is capable to reach the market are not available. So mainly medications, by the way, because medications now there is a huge lack, and there is no supply.
I'm touched when you say that the biggest challenges facing by Gaza is forgotten, and the suffering is continuous. That actually we hope in Malaysia, that people of Malaysia never forget about Gaza people, about Palestinian people. Kita harapkan kepada penonton-penonton kita pada malam ini, dengarlah rintihan mereka. Mereka sedang mengatakan bahawa challenges ataupun cabaran yang paling besar untuk rakyat Gaza ataupun orang Gaza, orang Palestin, ialah mereka ini dilupakan oleh dunia luar dan mereka ini terus dalam keadaan tertekan dan terus ditekan dalam keadaan sebegini. Brother, you mentioned about how resilient the Gaza people. I have met previously some of Gaza people in Malaysia and in other part of the world. I can confirm that they are really, really what I have you said just now. And for the next question, brother, you know, you mentioned about the borders are closed. The borders are closed and obstructing the entry of medical supplies. You mentioned the fuel will go out and the goods, everything obstructing into Gaza, and it's threatening to go into the serious humanitarian situation. Can you provide an overview of recent security situation in Gaza, brother?
Well, it's probably I mentioned it, briefly, but it's the streets are empty. Movement is very limited to urgent situations. As I said earlier, bombing, we hear the noise, coming from all directions. We don't know where it is, except from the news in many cases, or if we see the smokes from window. But that means that moving around is again is very risky. Hospitals, as I said, have been already under capacitated before the escalations. So during escalations, it becomes more and more difficult. So on.
Yeah, brother. You mentioned about the electricity that will go out in a day or two because of the fuel that is not coming. The fuel is not coming because of the border is closed. So, can you tell us why the electricity will go out because of the fuel?
Look, the only power plant that we have in Gaza is run on fuel. And when there is no fuel supplied, then it has to be turned off. And if it is turned off, then we lose most of the electricity supply in the city. In general, in normal situations, we have 8 hours of electricity alternative, 8-hour cuts and 8-hour on. So when there is, because this is the capacity of the power plant. If it goes, if it starts lacking electricity, it starts shutting off turbines. It has 4 turbines, basically. So it starts shutting out one after the other until there is none of them functioning yet.
So that makes the situation more dire. So bagi penonton kita di Malaysia, kita dengar mereka sedangkan mereka punya electricity pun bergantung kepada minyak, dan minyak itu dibawa masuk daripada border, dan bila ada konflik yang berlaku sekarang ini, border ditutup, minyak tak boleh masuk dan electricity akan terganggu. Seperti mana yang Brother Muneeb cakap, hari biasa pun yang tidak ada serangan, tidak ada konflik yang sedang berlaku, itu pun dicatu elektriknya 8 jam buka, 8 jam tutup. Dan sekarang ini apabila berlaku seperti ini dan kita risau dalam sehari 2 lagi, electricity akan terus terputus di Gaza ini. And brother, we from what we understand, and to work to make the Islamic Relief work more smoothly in Gaza, we are also working together with partners. We are partnering with other organizations. We work closely with community and community-based organization, as you mentioned earlier. facing the current situation, facing dire humanitarian crisis, have there been any significant development in terms of humanitarian situation in Gaza? Are there hope for humanitarian situation in Gaza specifically? Brother.
In what terms, أخي? Sorry, يعني I probably didn't get the question clearly.
Yeah, have there any significant development in terms of humanitarian situation in Gaza? Are there hope?
Look, the humanitarian, I mean, just to put it in again simple words, before the escalations, I mean, 80% of the Gaza community are aid dependent.
Mm-hmm.
So they depend on aid for their daily food.
Mm-hmm.
Having such situations means that they don't have the capacity to store. They don't have the capacity to store because of, again, financial issues and logistical issues as well. So it means that they don't have anything for the next day. In such situations, if they are not being able to reach out for aid or to reach out for support or to move, then that means that they cannot, they have harder time surviving. Probably, families that have at least a financial capacity might have something in the refrigerator or storing, or they can go to bakery and buy bread or something. People that don't have cash, they cannot do that if nobody is supporting them. So, and by the way, Gaza is a total humanitarian situation. As I said, it's not only in households. Even when I talked about electricity, the first thing that comes to a normal person's mind is light at home and probably a heater or something like that. But it affects hospitals, it affects sewage, it affects everything. So the whole situation is fragile. It's not only households.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing goes to hospitals. As I said, hospitals, they're normally 30 to 40% lacking essential drugs and disposables. In such situations, even support is not able to fulfill because the market does not have them. So it's basically a full package of dependencies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, brother, you mentioned about hospital and we update about for this year 2023. It's 123 people have been killed. But can you give an update about this? Maybe you speak earlier, but maybe you can repeat again during this escalation. How many people affected, brother? How many people?
How many people affected? In general, it's basically
How many? Yeah, please.
31 persons have been killed, around 80 injured, around 80 homes have been totally demolished. A number of surrounding homes also have been, surrounding homes to the totally damaged ones have been affected as well. And numbers are counting and updating on daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or,
So
or,
you mentioned.
or hourly, probably not daily, because I mean it changes instantly.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned about how many? 18 houses or 80 houses?
80.
80 totally
80.
totally
Yeah,
destroyed.
yeah,
Totally
yeah.
destroyed. Okay, so the 80 houses that has been destroyed totally because of the attack, and other building also affected, as you mentioned, maybe hospital or other essential building. And what is the status, brother? What is the status of the infrastructure and essential services in Gaza? As we know, banks are still closed or still operate. Or how about school? How about hospital? Other infrastructures?
No, hospitals are functioning with
Okay.
the available capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Schools have been closed since the first day, and banks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Businesses and other public services are have been like with minimal capacity functioning. But again, there is no need for for kind of services to function because people cannot reach them unless it is an emergency. Yani people tend to avoid moving out of home.
Are there any hospital or health service that have been affected by the attack, brother?
لا alhamdulillah, no, until now,
Alhamdulillah.
no, none of them.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Um, um, Brother, regarding the escalation, we really hope it stop. And are there any ongoing efforts, brother, to promote peace and reconciliation in Gaza for the current situation, for the current escalation?
There is a lot of efforts, as we hear from the news, being exerted from different parties, Egypt, Qatar, and UN mainly, to reach a ceasefire and to ease the situation. We didn't hear any results until now. But again, probably as I the way we see it as Gazans basically is that there is a lot of there is a lot of crises around the world. There is a lot of conflicts and damages and whatever. But I think the uniqueness of the Gaza situation is totally different than anywhere else because the area is extremely limited. There is no refuge. There is, even when we say internally displaced, internally displaced means to another dangerous area. There is no safe areas. And I think probably Gaza is the only place on earth until now is under occupation and fenced from all around. Nobody can go in and out of the Gaza Strip. So the situation is it needs to be changed. There has to be kind of a change in this situation. Even if there is some political or whatever conflict, there is a minimum humanitarian standard that children in Gaza deserve to enjoy. Children in Gaza that were born in 2007, since the blockade of Gaza, do not know that there is anything else on the world living differently. They think the world is just like Gaza. It's totally blockaded. Nobody can move in. Nobody can move out. They hear about relatives outside, but they don't know who they are and when they can dream to see them. I don't think there is any place on earth still compares to Gaza.
Allahu Akbar. Yes. It's really touched me. And when you said about children and women, they are the one who should not be in this at all.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So maybe you can share with us with the Malaysian community about how this situation, how this escalation, how this attack affected them the most. Because like I said, that I read about the kids that only 4 years old that died because of the panic attack, hearing the bombing, not get shot, but hearing only the bombing and the attack.
Yeah. Look, we usually run psychosocial centers, with other partners in different areas of the Gaza Strip, and the children in most of they're mainly the centers are mainly focusing around children, and children are in all cases suffering because of others' actions, kind of. They have nothing to do with it. They are the most vulnerable, helpless. They find themselves in a situation where they are the victims suffering from the surrounding. They're affected by the sounds that they keep hearing day and night, and mainly at night when they're sleeping, because it intensifies at night. It leaves with them traumas for a long time that needs to be treated. Traumas that affect their nerves, traumas that affect their, concentration. It affects their behavior in general. And this again needs a lot of effort when the situation is back to what's so-called normal, which is another abnormal situation for generations. So it's something I believe beyond explanation. Yani, I mean, you have to see to understand, kind of.
Yep, brother. Brother, how the international community and organization supporting Gaza and its recovery and development, brother?
You talk. I mean, now in the escalation, it's still very early to talk about that because there's no possible action. It's no action. Yani we've done our best as Islamic Relief. We're usually, if not the first, one of the first to act because of our preparedness, alhamdulillah. But in general, it's not easy to respond. Now, there are still lists of homes that have been demolished in the 2009 assaults that have not been repaired until now. So it's a long list, and names keep adding on it. So it's a difficult situation, honestly. And there are many people that need and deserve interventions in their living standard that have not physically been affected by these attacks, but they're usually forgotten because there are more priorities now.
Kepada penonton kita yang menonton melalui social media Islamic Relief Malaysia, kita dengar daripada Brother Muneeb sendiri mengatakan bahawa komuniti antarabangsa yang membantu Gaza pada ketika ini, pada disebabkan oleh serangan yang berlaku baru-baru ini, masih tidak banyak, dan hanya Islamic Relief ataupun beberapa badan yang lain yang antara yang terawal ataupun antara yang pertama ataupun antara yang terawal yang bergerak untuk membantu mangsa-mangsa ataupun mereka yang terkesan disebabkan serangan ini. Kerana kita telah memang berada di Gaza dan kita memang berada di Palestin sejak 1997, dan kita terus melakukan projek-projek dan kita terus melakukan bantuan. Segala bantuan yang kita ada adalah kita lakukan disebabkan kita telah memang bersedia dengan segala apa kemungkinan yang berlaku, dan ini adalah antara kerja yang seperti mana yang anda boleh lihat kita bersama Brother Muneeb Abu-Ghazaleh yang merupakan pengarah Islamic Relief Palestine. Memang mereka orang di sana dan mereka memang berada di sana, mereka dekat dengan komuniti di sana, yang mereka terus melakukan projek-projek dan bantuan yang berterusan sehingga kini. And brother, as we see in the screen, it's like a fresh food. And what are the immediate priorities and what actions that have been taken by Islamic Relief Palestine in Gaza right now because of the escalation?
Priorities basically depend on the sector or the target that we're talking about. If we're talking about health, definitely the immediate priority is the urgent items, medical aid support and disposables and so on. For households, the priorities are basically if they're not affected directly by the attacks, then their priorities is food security. If they have been affected, then again displacement, finding shelter, new shelter, finding the essential items for sheltering, and so on. So it's actually depends on the group of people that we're talking about, but most of people are in need for food, basically, in general.
Based on the picture that we are seeing, brother, where is this and what are the intervention that we've done? This is I think it's a fresh food, right? They're giving it the fresh food. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It is fresh food from the same community that we try to search for farmers that are not being able to sell their fresh items, because usually these, if they're not sold on daily basis, they go to trash, yani. So we try to transfer them as much as possible to households and support the families with these items. So it's basically vegetables, whatever is possible of that, green, green leaves and so on, chicken, eggs, things like that are from the small farmers around.
So from what I understand, that what you say, that you help the people that in need, and at the same time you help the livelihood of the farmers that have been affected by the situation.
Exactly.
Right, brother?
Exactly, because many of these farmers, by the way, in such incidents, they go bankrupt after the incident because they lose their business. They lose their farm. They're not able to replant again, and so on. So in this way, we try to keep them survive. Yani.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. It's really a good word. And bagi penonton kami di Malaysia, anda boleh lihat bantuan yang dilakukan oleh Islamic Relief Palestine ini, yang di Gaza ini, adalah bukan sahaja membantu mereka yang terkesan, tetapi mereka membantu juga pekerjaan mereka dengan mengambil barang-barang jualan ataupun barang-barang pertanian ataupun hasil tanian yang tidak terjual disebabkan konflik yang berlaku. Kedai tak buka, jalan tutup, semua orang tak keluar, tak pergi pasar, tak beli barang. Jadi barang-barang ini tersangkut, barang-barang ini tidak dapat dijual, barang-barang ini tidak dapat diletakkan dalam perniagaan mereka. Jadi Islamic Relief bekerjasama dengan komuniti yang ada di situ, dengan petani yang ada di situ, ambil barang-barang mereka, beli barang-barang mereka dan agihkan kepada penduduk ataupun pada penduduk Gaza yang terkesan secara keseluruhannya. Makanan segar seperti yang dapat kita lihat, sayur, bawang, seperti yang disebut oleh pada Muneeb tadi. Ini adalah satu, orang kata, tindakan yang alhamdulillah bijak yang kita dilakukan bagi membantu bukan saja orang biasa, household, tapi juga membantu petani itu sendiri. Brother, we are also seeing that we are sending the medical supplies to the hospital, to the hospital. Maybe you can share a little bit about that, like we see in the pictures.
Yes, we try. I mean, usually we contact hospitals in such emergencies and ask them for their lacks and try to match whatever is available in the market to deliver it to them to fill the gaps. So it differs from hospital to hospital, and it only depends on whatever we can find in the market. In this specific situation, we have delivered mainly medications that are used for emergency, units in the hospitals. We are yet to deliver disposables as well and some other items, inshallah.
How about the price, brother? Is the price really going up because of the situation, because of the escalation?
No. Such prices are controlled usually. They cannot make use of such situations, yani, and the culture kind of prevents such thing to happen. Yani.
Baiklah, bagi penonton kami di Malaysia, anda dapat lihat ini adalah yang sedang berlaku ataupun yang sedang berjalan sekarang, bantuan ubat-ubatan kepada hospital, bantuan makanan segar kepada penduduk di Gaza, dan ini semua adalah projek yang sedang ataupun bantuan yang sedang berjalan, dan ketika ini sangat memerlukan bantuan daripada anda semua. Jadi kita mengharapkan dengan anda share video ini dan anda juga dapat menyumbang kepada Islamic Relief Malaysia. Kita ada Palestin appeal, yang di mana anda dapat menyumbang kepada Islamic Relief Malaysia, dan sumbangan ini akan sampai kepada Islamic Relief di Palestin. Brother, seeing because of this escalation, we still need support from people, from from people globally. We still need, their donation. Maybe what, in the last word, maybe what you can say to them, what you can, ask them to do for the Palestinian people and especially for the Gaza people.
Jazakallah khair. This is very important. As I said in the beginning, and I'm going to repeat that if Gazan people are given a chance to depend on themselves, they are really capable of fulfilling their needs and being productive and inshallah hopefully contributing to other areas of the world. But we are put in a situation that we are forced to depend on humanitarian aid, and without the support of the good people around the world, Gaza would have been a further disaster than it is now. So it's always reliant on the support of the good people around the world, the Malaysian community, and other people around the world, to survive and to keep on, alive, until inshallah one day the situation will change and the people will start depending on themselves in Gaza, inshallah, and hopefully returning the favor that everybody is doing for them.
InsyaAllah, insyaAllah. Seperti mana yang dikatakan oleh Brother Muneeb, merupakan pengarah Islamic Relief Palestine, kita masih memerlukan bantuan daripada orang ramai, sumbangan murah hati rakyat Malaysia untuk terus menyumbang. Kalau anda dapat lihat di bawah itu ada, kami sediakan nombor telefon, anda boleh sama ada screenshot nombor telefon, WhatsApp nombor telefon kami untuk Islamic Relief Malaysia. Boleh follow kami juga di Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Ada juga nombor akaun yang kami sediakan di situ, dan bagi yang menyumbang boleh letakkan remark Palestin di situ untuk kita sama-sama membantu dan projek ini terus berjalan, bantuan dapat terus disalurkan dan rakyat Gaza, rakyat Palestin yang tertindas sekarang dapat terus kita bantu. Kita seperti mana yang saya cakap tadi, boleh tengok kita punya website www.islamic-relief.org.my atau telefon nombor 0389263434 ataupun kita punya WhatsApp center untuk tanya lebih lanjut boleh 0196379788. Media sosial kami cari Islamic Relief Malaysia di Facebook, Instagram, Twitter dan TikTok. Brother, we would like to thank you once again, brother. It's like I said, it's really honored to have you as our guest for our live session today, and to get an update directly from Gaza. And we pray for you, brother. We pray for your family. We pray for Islamic Relief staff. We pray for Palestinian. We pray for Gaza. Inshallah, we hope that Malaysia people are not forgetting people of Palestine. We are not forgetting. I will always pray for you, inshallah, brother. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much
for your time. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, Jazakumullah khair, and I thank all your audiences, and I hope you all the best, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Thank you once again. And sampai sinilah saya rasa kita punya live untuk hari ini. Kita dapat lebih daripada setengah jam, dalam 40 minit kita bercakap live daripada Gaza bersama Brother Muneeb Abu-Ghazaleh yang merupakan pengarah Islamic Relief Palestine di Gaza. Mereka sedang beroperasi di sana, mereka memang berada di sana terus menyalurkan bantuan, dan kita terus mahu sumbangan daripada anda-anda sekalian, rakyat Malaysia, terus menyumbang kepada Islamic Relief Malaysia untuk kami sampaikan sumbangan anda terus kepada Islamic Relief Palestine, untuk mereka terus melakukan kerja-kerja kemanusiaan, untuk mereka terus menyampaikan bantuan. Mereka dalam keadaan yang terdesak, mereka diserang dan serangan itu masih lagi belum berhenti. Nombor ataupun nyawa mereka terus setiap hari tergadai disebabkan serangan yang berlaku. Kami harapkan bantuan anda sekali lagi untuk terus sama-sama menyampaikan mesej ini, untuk terus menyampaikan bantuan melalui Islamic Relief Malaysia, dan juga seterusnya. Juga kita mengharapkan doa daripada anda sekalian, doa, sumbangan, bantuan, sokongan anda dengan pelbagai cara, sama ada sumbangan, doa, share video ini dan sebagainya. Seperti yang mana saya sebut tadi, boleh lawat kita punya website Islamic Relief Malaysia, www.islamicrelief.org.my, dan juga nombor telefon dan juga bank account di bawah. Teruskan menyumbang. Kami berterima kasih kepada anda kerana menonton live kami pada hari ini. InsyaAllah berjumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum brother, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.